Lupa's release finally presented us with the chance to complete a team composition that Kuro teased way back in version 1.1 during the Thaw of Eons update, and this includes Brand for sustained capabilities, Chun-Li who does majority of the team's damage, and Lupa who provides buffing capabilities. But the issue here is that at S0, the 20% fusion damage bonus and the 15% fusion resistance shred is only granted if you're playing Lupa with two other fusion resonators, and the only way to get around that is to get her S3, which gets rid of those conditions, but that can be quite costly. This may give players a reason to skip Lupa, especially if you don't have both Chun-Li and Brand on your account. But before you make any hasty decisions, there are quite a few things that you need to be aware of, which is where I come in to make the decision a bit more easier to make. I'm gonna break down Lupa and Phrolova based on the information that we have in the game so far and point out some of the things that makes their kit stand out to help you determine if they are the right character for your account. So if it's your first time here, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to support the channel if you find this video helpful. Let's begin with Lupa. To be honest, it's quite funny when people claim that Lupa's damage sucks while forgetting the whole point of her role in your team building compared to other hybrids like Chun-Li. Chun-Li offers no sustain or buffing capabilities, which is why her damage is much higher than Brand and Lupa. Brand provides sustain capabilities through shielding and healing for the premium team, which is why his personal damage is lower than Chun-Li. So Lupa being able to buff attack, fusion damage bonus, fusion resistance shred makes much more sense that her personal damage per rotation will be on par or even slightly higher than Brand because they provide some form of value other than the damage amplification effects from their outro skills. Now that Lupa's role in your team building is much clearer, let's address one of the biggest misconceptions, and that is Lupa needs her premium team to be good. I even made a video recently beating the middle tower that offers no buffs aside from the 10% fusion resistance shred with Encore, Lupa, and Verena. The footage you're seeing right now is me clearing the middle tower with Lupa Brand Shorekeeper and Lupa Chun-Li Shorekeeper. Keep in mind that my Brand and Chun-Li are on free-to-play build for the showcase footage that you're seeing right now. So basically all I'm trying to say is that our premium team is not a requirement because you still get 6% fusion resistance shred, 10% fusion damage bonus if you're up against bosses, and all the 18% attack buff, which does not depend on the number of fusion teammates that you have. So you can beat any endgame if you just have Encore, Chun-Li, or Brand to pair with Lupa. In my previous account improvement videos, I've always talked about future-proofing your account, and this simply means making decisions right now that will serve as a benefit for your account in the long term. Lupa is one of the characters that fit that description regardless of how others might try to convince you that she's a bait character. At S0R1, the value that Lupa provides for any fusion DPS in the future is quite insane. This is what any future fusion DPS gets from Lupa with a full fusion team, and this is what they get when paired with only Lupa. So even if the future fusion DPS skills off something like heavy attack damage for example, you don't lose out on damage heavily by not pulling for their best in slot sub DPS, which can cost you money. This is why Brand is absolutely necessary for Lupa because of the healing and shielding that he provides to help you form the full fusion team with any fusion DPS, which also frees up Shorekeeper for you to use with another team. So if you have Brand on your account, Lupa is one of the best long-term investment that you can make at the moment. Now for Phrolova. While we do not have official information about her kit and what she actually does, Kuro has been dropping hints for quite some time. The release of Cantarella didn't make much sense at the time because Camellia and Havoc Rover's best in slot sub DPS buffer is Rocha and Sanwa, who provides basic attack damage and Havoc damage amplification from their outro skills. Jinxie mains who do not have Jeji gain some benefit due to Cantarella's ability to provide coordinated attacks, but she's not Jinxie's best in slot sub DPS. In fact, Jinxie doesn't have one at the current state of the game because we need a spectral unit that provides resonance skill, and spectral damage amplification from their ultra skills, in addition to the provision of coordinated attacks for that to happen. Hence, Cantarella's resonance skill and havoc damage amplification ultra buffs serves to benefit a havoc unit that has not been introduced in the game yet, which is most likely Phrolova. If this turns out to be true, Phrolova's team building will be quite forgiving because 4-star alternatives exist that can provide resonance skill damage and havoc damage amplification ultra buffs like Lumi, Tao-Chi, and Dongjin, so she can be quite free-to-play friendly. But it's only worth it to pair her with such characters if she's a main damage dealer with a high damage potential instead of a hybrid character. Cantarella's ability to heal all teammates also seems like Kuro is recreating the same thing that they did with Lupa, Brandt, and Chun-Li team composition, and if that turns out to be true, Rocha will most likely be the third slot to complete the team building since she amplifies havoc and basic attack damage for Cantarella to do decent damage. This also gives us an idea of what Phrolova's ultra buff will be if she turns out to be a hybrid character instead of a main damage dealer, which will be heavy attack damage amplification in addition to havoc damage amplification. And the havoc damage amplification from her ultra skill is because of Phrolova's havoc attribute, and the heavy attack damage amplification is because of Rocha's forte damage that is considered as heavy attack damage. But Shorekeeper can be a suitable replacement for Rocha if Phrolova's damage output is really decent with Cantarella. Think of it like Brandt, Chun-Li, and Shorekeeper team composition without Lupa. So unless Phrolova provides buffing capabilities similar to Lupa, her pull value at the current state of the game will be low if she's a main damage dealer due to the existence of Camellia and Havoc Rover, or a hybrid character who is more focused on dealing damage like Chun-Li with no team-wide buffing capabilities. So in summary, Lupa can be a decent investment for your account in the long term, but my best recommendation is to get her if you already own Brandt or planning to get him on his rerun to get the most out of Lupa's kit if you want to pair Lupa with any fusion DPS in the future. For Phrolova, she'll only have advantage over Camellia and Havoc Rover as a main damage dealer if she does much higher damage than them, which is quite common for new DPS versus the old ones. But if she turns out to be a hybrid character instead, you'll have to lower your damage expectations from her because hybrids are meant to do damage while providing buffing capabilities to support other hybrids in the team, so her dependency on Cantarella will be much higher and her ultra buff will be wasted if you don't have Rocha on the team, based on my previous speculation. I hope this can provide some good insights on how to properly plan your pulls, especially if you don't spend that much money in the game. Hope this video provided value to you, and if it did, leave a like and subscribe to support the channel because it's free and you can always change your mind. Be sure to also join our community Discord if you're having any issues with the game or you just want a place to chill or hang out. Link will be in the pinned comment below. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.